do this. We need like a welcome to Life with Purpose.
Okay, welcome to Life with Purpose
with Adalyn and Amanda. This is literally episode 1.
This will be our introduction, so a little bit of a get to know the people who are going to be running this podcast and channel.
So tell me about you and like why are you here? Why did you want to do a podcast? What's on your brain?
Okay, I'm Adalyn. I am a photographer in Colorado. I love the outdoors and nature and spiritual discovery. So I think the biggest reason why I wanted to do this podcast and talk about the kind of issues that we're going to talk about is because I feel like in order to change the world, we need to be able to start with activism and awareness about important things. And also, I feel like the way that we roll, we bring a lot of humor and lightheartedness into serious topics. And I think that's what the world needs a little bit.
Your answer is like way more introspective than mine.
Tell me your answer.
Okay, so I was going to say, my name is Amanda. I'm 9 credits shy of a bachelor's degree.
So close yet so far.
So fun. I have always wanted to do social media and be a content creator, and I think that my unique perspective on life and like the things that I've been through are, one, not only humorous, relatable, and like, the reason why I wanted to do a podcast is because like, I think that I have an interesting story to tell, and I like relating to other people or like making them feel like they're not necessarily alone in the world.
And you do that through trauma bonding with me?
I do that through trauma bonding. That's what we do. Yes. So that's why I'm here, and some of the things that I'm like excited to talk about, like I think like we both have a really unique but also humorous take on things like trauma bonding, because we both, through the course of our friendship, have realized that we've both been through a lot of really traumatic shit and like still come out on the other side. And like I am the kind of person who like makes dead mommy jokes. So like my mom is dead. If you're not here for that, then like this is not the podcast for you.
That's true. You have to be able to handle the really dark things with a little bit of humor, in order I think to relate to the content that we make.
Yeah, I think also like if you're gonna go through these dark things, like you have to be able to laugh about it at the end, or like you're never gonna get through it.
Yeah.
So like if that's not your vibe, then like this is not your vibe.
But if making dead dad and mom jokes is your vibe, then we're the people for you. So I want to hear more about the episodes coming up that we have planned that you're excited to talk about.
I think the episode that I'm like most excited to talk about is like the eating disorder body dysmorphia episode, because that's like right now is kind of like my branding. It's like what I'm going through and what words are hard.
That it's what resonates with you?
It's like what resonates most with me. Actually, and it was like really funny because I just went on my bachelorette party in Daytona, and there were like so many jokes about it like all weekend, and it was really hilarious. But like the funniest thing we walked away with all weekend, we did a game, and like it was like who knows the bride and groom the best, and the game was like what's their favorite color or what's their favorite restaurant. And one of them was like what's the bride's favorite food, and one of my bridesmaids was like water, and the other one says, can I write bride has eating disorder? And I was like, yes, you still have points.
I'm really glad you could find humor in a topic that is really close to home and sensitive. It's okay. A lot of the things that I think we're going to touch on are going to be pretty dark, but
we're also going to do an episode on death,
which I'm really excited for, because dead dad. So death has been
Dead Parents Club. I think that should be our first t-shirt.
Yeah, we should. You got to do like a handshake with me. Every time we talk about my dead parents, we're going like this.
Addie!
For all of the podcasters that can't see what just happened, I'm hilarious.
Hilarious.
No, death is going to be on my radar for ones that I really want to. I'm excited to talk about for sure.
That makes me tear up.
I know. I'm like wiping my eyes and like my makeup hasn't like solidified on my face yet. So.
Right. So we have eating disorders and body dysmorphia. We have death.
Yep. We're going to talk about
social media.
Yes, social anxiety.
And mental illness.
So yeah, we have a bunch of topics that I think we'll have something for everybody. I think so, as long as they can relate to
dark humor.
Dark humor. We're gonna practice.
Wow. There was like another thing also recently. I'm just gonna out myself as a Swiftie on day one. We're just gonna
get it out there. You know, we're gonna weed out the people that can't resonate with us.
Who can't sit with us. So she has a line in one of her new songs, and it's "Life is emotionally abusive," and I think that line is just like so beyond relatable and true. And I think this podcast is just going to be like a good like hotspot for people who like understand that like life is emotionally abusive, but like you can get through it.
Yeah, I think through talking about these topics and sharing our stories and our personal experiences underneath that umbrella, I really hope that we can provide a safe place online for people to be able to cope in a healthy way with the things that they have to go through and find common ground with us. Because between the two of us, we have about every trauma, in the book.
Literally all the traumas.
Yeah, I have 10 on the Adverse Childhood Experiences test. I bet you do too.
Ew, I haven't taken this.
Well, maybe we can make an episode about that.
Yeah, let's make an episode where we take this test. Should we just do it next? Coming
Trauma.
up. Trauma. What traumas do you have? Let's compare. Actually, I was going to say, let's compare trauma charts. I don't know if you have a trauma chart, but every time I get a new
Is it like a natal chart?
I don't know.
Like a birth chart, like a zodiac chart?
Oh, no.
It's like, how are you fucked up and in what ways?
So, like, I go to therapy and I have a trauma chart. So, I had, like, a really wonderful therapist, and then she ended up moving away, and she went back to, like, her home state or whatever. And so I ended up started with a new therapist. And I realized in talking to this new therapist, like, oh my god, I have to start over and like tell you all the reasons why I'm in therapy. So I created a trauma chart.
It's like an intro video.
And yeah, and it's like
Andy.
It's like a timeline of like what happened and when and how old I was, and it's got like the death of my mother and like the death of my grandfather, and like it's got like essay on there, and it's got like it's pretty much everything that I've been through. So I have this whole trauma chart, and that therapist has since also moved back to her hometown, and then I got a new therapist who was like awesome, but then she moved back to her hometown. So like in the last 2 years, I've had to use this trauma chart 3 times.
Your judgment for therapists is bad.
They keep getting assigned to me. So I come in with my iPad and I say like, this is my trauma chart, and they take it from me and they usually just go, okay. Where do you want to start?
Usually, I like to start. I'll be like, let's start at the beginning, but I can't remember it. So let's start midway when I start to like have
what's gonna like.
Yeah, I'll be like, it's usually right around. For me, where I like to start, I'll be like, I'll walk in. So my dad licked himself. Let's start there. Let's talk about it.
Let's just start there. And at this point, I've been through so many therapists that like I have like yet to come to like any one like resolution, because before we like finish the topic that we're working on, I end up with a new therapist.
Jeez.
Yeah. So they're like, you've been in therapy for a really long time, and I'm like, yes, it's absolutely 100% your fault.
You guys suck.
You guys suck.
Okay, Mandy, I want to switch gears and I want to talk about our respective businesses that we have and how they relate to what we're going to be doing on this video cast podcast. I mean, I run my own photography business, and you run your own clothing business. So
Yes.
tell me about that.
Okay, so the clothing line is called Bulletproof Basics, and I have kind of always been like a creative, like I said earlier, like I have always wanted to be like a content creator.
Mm-hmm.
I love painting, I love photography, I love creating YouTube videos, and like this was just another one of those, like, I don't know, maybe it's the ADHD, but I like wanted a clothing line.
Mm-hmm.
But the eating disorder has become real in like the last several years. It's like really resonated, and like I needed some sort of way to like combat that energy. And so one thing that I've grown like really comfortable with in like my weight gain is wearing like large t-shirts and like sweatpants and like clothes that like kind of hide who you are. And so like I needed a reason to create like a clothing line where I could still like kind of hide behind what I was comfortable with, but still like be who I am. And then also like when you struggle with things like eating disorders and body dysmorphia, they tell you like you have to like work through things like learning to love yourself as is. And so
Well, that's
what?
fucked.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, oh man, that's one of the hardest topics in therapy they got.
So I started like branding all of my clothes with like a little embroidery patch that said love yourself. And so these pieces became like a way for me to like kind of get out that like negative energy and still have something to like kind of hide behind. So and then I take $2 of every purchase and I donate it to the Eating Disorder Foundation. But I also have like a fun like scrunchie of the month club that I'm launching.
I loved that idea. Because it's the ones where you mail them, right? Like,
I'll mail them, yeah.
once a month.
So I'll make like totally like unique. I don't know if like it would be like unique to the month or unique to the subscriber.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really decided yet. And I was actually going to launch November, but I think I'm launching December. And there are 4 people on that mailing list right now. And then, but like most of the scrunchies will say the same thing. They'll love yourself on it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my business. And then also I have a personal YouTube and a personal TikTok / Instagram that I'm trying to grow, where like I focus on body dysmorphia and eating disorders and just try and do like a lifestyle content sort of vibe.
Yeah.
Which I've actually been on YouTube for like years and years and years, and I've never been consistent. So like that's probably my problem.
Yeah, the consistency with the algorithm, I think, is really what puts certain creators up on top. Is the frequency of which they put out content.
And I'm bad at that.
Hopefully, we'll do a little bit better. I guess we'll see.
Okay.
So I just recently registered my business as an official LLC for the first time. Yeah. So I have a new website that I'm about to launch soon. I have a lot of really fun upcoming shoots. So I guess a little bit of background information. So I've been doing photography for a couple of years. It started as just a hobby that I just adored, just like many businesses start. So I started doing photography for my friends and family, for fun, and I realized how big of a passion it was for me. So out of high school, I really hit the ground running and worked really hard to turn my hobby into a real business. I have really got to a point that I'm proud of, and it's been awesome, and I really have figured out who I am as a photographer and the message that I want to put out there. And I really think that capturing the important moments in life through really raw, candid photos.
I was going to say, you took that video of me screaming, or that photo.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of my favorite photos.
So the photo of you screaming, I really want to do something like that. So this upcoming women's empowerment session that I have on the 26th, I'd like it to be as empowering as that photo felt to us.
Yeah.
I've recently started thinking about doing a lot more women's empowerment stuff. Things that tell a story, like the photo shoot that we did for your branding. I want to ride this wave and see where it takes me, because as of right now, I do a lot of portrait photography, which I really love. I love showing people the world and themselves how I see it. I think there's beauty everywhere if you just look for it. I think empowerment touches my heart in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I really enjoyed working with you, collaborating with you with your startup for branding your business. I had so much fun. There was so much chaos that happened in that session. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I just remember we had driven almost 2 hours to a location to figure out that it was pouring rain.
Oh yeah, it was like storming.
Yeah.
And then
Then we drove an hour north to a different location, and they had blocked it off because of a car accident.
They never said why those roads were blocked.
Oh yeah, that's right. So we drove around the block.
We had to go around and pursue this officer to let us through.
Then we had to go back because he was like, I can't let you through here. But he was like, but if you go back to the other end and you just tell them you only want to go up to this certain point for the location.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up getting through, and the shoot, I thought, went just great.
Swimmingly.
Yeah.
And I still have not posted all of the photos.
Well, I think I got to get the rest of them to you as well.
Yeah.
We're working on it, but yeah, so I guess our businesses cross paths. Our businesses cross paths a lot more often than
we anticipated, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think this podcast is really going to tie back to our individual projects a lot more than I think we're anticipating. So
I agree.
But I'm really excited, and
We've
can't wait to get
this
started
since August. So here we are in November. I think this will probably go up like a week from now, right? So here we are mid-November.
Well,
and we've been
you'll see the first episode in March.
Hopefully not.
Well, I guess second, if this is episode 1.
The second episode will go up in March. Yikes, that's how consistent we are.
Yeah, but I want to change that. I think as far as personal goals go, I want to be more consistent in my business with my content creation and social media presence.
Here's the thing, I just want to quit my fucking jobs.
For real.
We need to do...
I want to quit we should probably talk about how we met.
So we met working in retail, which I think that we need to do an episode dedicated specifically to...
Oh my gosh, that job!
Retail. But the weird thing is that we met in one retail location and found out that previously we had both worked for another retailer.
The same company, but it's not a company that's they are widespread, but they don't have a lot of stores, so I found it really interesting that we had both worked at this particular
company.
Yeah.
So we worked for one corporate retailer, and that's a part-time job for both of us.
Mm-hmm.
And we both hated there.
I was gonna say there's a reason why. It's not just that it's retail, although retail sucks in and of itself. However, our particular location with our particular category of retail
is consistently
horrible.
Being stolen from. It's not in a great location.
Yeah, not exactly a stellar city. Well,
the people who work there, I really care for. I really enjoy our coworkers. I think we're all just in a season of our life where we have to have this crappy job, and so we kind of have all in and of itself trauma bonded because this location is not fantastic.
Well, and I mean, I feel the need to elaborate on that. When we say not fantastic, we mean high crime and a ridiculous amount of theft. Like the stolens for, I think it was
August, back to school.
Was it August? That it was over 70 items.
By the end of the month, it was 90.
Okay. And that is minimum $50 per item, maximum, probably 130 maybe for some of them. I guess full price. Because we did a lot of sales.
Discounted, yeah.
Yeah, so high volume, and people will run out with armfuls of merchandise. It is just so ridiculous. I mean, and people customers, I shouldn't say customers, people and suspects will get physical with employees. I think it's like, there's not much that corporate can do about it, but it's just in and of itself and not a great location. And even if it were, I think people would, I mean, we've learned that if people want to steal, most of them will do it. And because there's nothing we can do.
Yeah.
They will do it regardless. They'll push you down. They'll get physical. They'll throw crack pipes at you.
I was literally just, by far my favorite story is when this particular person threw a crack pipe at an employee. And I was like, next time we see her, we should be like, do you want it back? It's a little busted, but we got it.
Yeah, we saved it for you because we know,
we know you'll be back. Anyway, so that's how we met, and then so we like kind of trauma bonded over the things that were happening in the store, and then I think what really like formulated our friendship was that I like told you that I had like an interest in like crystals and tarot cards.
You didn't even say anything. One day we were at the cash wrap, the counter, and you pull out your phone and we're like, hey, look what I ordered from the shop on Etsy. And I was like, what? You just decided to come up to me and tell me about the crystals that you had ordered on Etsy. And I was like, that's ballsy, but I guess you like read my energy. I was like, did we talk about this before? I can't remember. Maybe we did.
I don't know.
But you just came up to me and was like, look at these crystals I just bought. And I was like, oh, I was like, you're like that. And I was like, I can relate. And then I remember I was like, you got to try out this one girl's shop. 2 months later, you got the items. And we talked about that too. But yeah, initially we bonded over our love for spiritual oddities.
Yeah, which is, so it's funny because like I grew up Catholic.
I grew up Mormon. Or quite the pair.
Quite the pair. And so like I wouldn't say, and like right now the whole like witchy vibe is the thing to be.
It's a trend.
It's a trend for sure, and I wouldn't say necessarily that that's where I gravitate spiritually. Spiritually, I still haven't necessarily figured things out. There are still like aspects of the church that like I really care for and can appreciate, but like don't necessarily believe. There's still aspects of the church that I do believe in. But then I really enjoy doing tarot, and you know, they say that crystals have all of these energy, and like I feel like things have energy or things have power when you give them power. And so like I really enjoy like taking this like pretty crystal and like lining my bath with like crystals and candles and telling myself that I'm gonna love myself for the night. And then like
that belief, Maverick agrees with you. Crystal baths.
Like I like the idea that you can take something and give it power, and then like because you've given it power, it does something for you.
Even if there is no power to crystals, I mean, take this for instance. If this does nothing, this onyx pillar does nothing for us scientifically or energetically, I think simply surrounding yourself with beautiful things, pretty things, things that bring you joy. I mean, placebo effect is just as strong as so many of the drugs out there. So imagine how strong placebo can be if you decide to just simply give something power.
And if it's not good for energy, it makes a great weapon.
Exactly. You know, that's the lady that sold that to me said the exact same thing. I was like, what does this onyx type do or whatever? Tell me about its metaphysical properties. And she goes, oh, you know, I don't know too much about onyx, but you could use it as a weapon. She's like, that's not metaphysical, it's just physical.
It's just physical.
All in all, I think as far as introductions go, we have a pretty good start to who we are and what we want to accomplish. For this podcast and video cast, I think that the people that need to hear what we have to say are going to gravitate towards us and towards these platforms, and I'm really excited to interact with and learn from those people as well.
And I just decided this is how we're going to say goodbye every day.
Yeah.
We're just going to go like this.
Peace. All right.
I'm
out.
I hated that.
I know. As soon as I did that, I was like, what am I, 14? Oh God.
She does it before MySpace.
In middle school, I used to go.
Love
And then I
it.
didn't, I figured out what that meant. And then I was like, well, gotta do it right.
Love that for us.
And it was like that for the win.
Okay, so obligatory.
Yes.
Like, subscribe, turn on notifications.
Yeah, we're gonna be releasing some really fun episodes soon. So,
And we will see you next time.